Hi, my name's Tracy Rubel. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I also co-run a psychotherapy clinic in downtown San Francisco called Psyched in San Francisco. I like to do educational videos about psychotherapy because I think everybody needs it, everybody benefits. This is going to be a slightly different video. I'm going to share something a little bit personal. So 7 years ago, I became a mom, and probably some of the best training as a therapist that I've ever received in my 19 years of personal growth training. Becoming a mother was probably the most impactful in terms of my ability to empathize and really relate to people. But it also threw me for a loop because as much personal work as I'd done on myself, one, culturally, we don't do this in tribes anymore like we used to. People are in their homes doing it all by themselves, trying to make sense of a 3-year-old temper tantrum, and they have no clue what's going on or how to deal with a second grader who is kind of freaked out because they weren't invited to their friend's birthday party, and the list goes on and on. I joked around a few years ago about wishing that I just had someone on call that I could just run some ideas by. So very different than psychotherapy, but really a coach that helped me with parenting. And finally, I just decided, I bet there's someone that does this. I really need it. And I shopped around, and I actually talked to somebody that now works at Psyched in San Francisco about this. I said, hey, would you ever be interested in serving this function for me? Because I've had this engagement with you, and I know that you're already working with families doing this kind of work. And she says, well, funny that. I actually want to come work for Psyched in San Francisco. So I went ahead and found my own parenting coach. And I want to motivate and inspire you. If you are a parent and you have been buying a lot of books about parenting, if you feel anxious about the way you're showing up with your kid, or if your kid has some behaviors that you're uncertain about, it is the best money well spent. And frankly, I don't mind if you hire the parenting coaches here at Psyched in San Francisco or anyone. I just want to advocate for you getting this support and say firsthand, I'll just tell you how it's changed my life. First, I'm more empathic with my kids. Second, I feel more confident because I kind of understand more about what's going on in their little brain. You know, there's stuff that they do that just doesn't make sense to a rational adult. But it makes sense to me now. I can kind of read the language. Third, I'm more confident when I'm out with other moms. You know, even if I'm doing something different than they're doing, I'm like, well, but I have this backup. I know that what I'm doing is what's best for my kid. And fourth, it's created a lot of connection between me and my husband. All of the work that we've done has really carried over. And as somebody who specializes in couples therapy, I'm super interested in this aspect of investing in parenting coaching. When you actually get the support to be with your kids in a fresh, new way, everything that you learn about relating to them differently not only reduces the stress on you and your partner, but it actually helps you learn how to relate to your partner differently. So there's kind of a multiple angles at which you receive benefit. We've wanted to make it easy. We're at Psyched in San Francisco, we're always thinking about how to get people invested in doing even small pieces of personal growth. Doesn't have to be a long-term therapy project. So we've put together some parenting packages. We call it the Foundations of Motherhood because it's kind of the stuff that most mothers in the early days experience. So dealing with sleep training, dealing with sibling conflict, dealing with anger management, and then after your OB, your RN, your birth doula, or your midwife are out of the picture and you're home alone with that baby and your family has all left, we become that source of support weekly over the phone to just say, okay, you're doing this well, and here's some ideas for some other things. And let me tell you a little bit about the two women that we have at Psyched in San Francisco now that do this kind of work. Elizabeth Sullivan, who's one of the founders here, works with mothers postpartum and specializes in helping women that are suffering from postpartum depression. She also works with mothers with kids of all ages who really struggle with anger management issues. What's special about Elizabeth is that you feel really safe telling her some pretty icky stuff that you've done with your kids, and she doesn't judge. Jenny Kepler, prior to becoming a therapist, was a birth doula for 10 years. She's also done some lactation consulting, and before that she was an early childhood educator, so she's got a ton of child development training. But more recently, she spent the last several years at a clinic in the East Bay where she helps families at risk and goes into their homes and helps them learn parenting skills. And so she has all of these different experience points. And then she has neuroscience training from Dan Siegel's group and really understands a kid's brain and really understands what happens for moms too. So you can make appointments with Elizabeth Sullivan or Jenny Kepler from the Psyched in San Francisco website at the schedule button. And their whole schedule, all the pricing, it's all out there for you to see, and you can access it right now online. And it's such a relief. I don't know if I need to get up and dance a jig, but I wish I would have done this 2 years ago. So I hope that you do it. And if not with us, please with someone.